The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and Franklin police have arrested 27 people as part of a bust of a major drug trafficking operation.
America, we just witnessed a massive takedown that proves the Sinaloa's reach still extends far beyond the Mexican border. 27 people were arrested in Franklin, New Hampshire, a small town with just 8,500 people, in a coordinated operation that seized $100,000 in cash and exposed a drug distribution network directly connected with the same cartel we've been talking about with El Mayo Zambada. But here's what's going to blow your mind. They had to clear out a homeless encampment that was being used as a drug distribution center, and the drugs were being funneled from Lawrence, Massachusetts, which has become the fentanyl capital of New England.
Through their investigation, they found this drug operation was tied to the Sinaloa Cartel in Mexico.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story proves that the cartel problem isn't just a border issue. These criminal organizations have distribution networks reaching into the heart of small-town America, using the most vulnerable citizens as cover for their operation. Let me break down exactly what happened in Franklin, New Hampshire over 2 days that should terrify every American parent. Day 1, August 26, 2025, DEA agents and Franklin police executed 3 search warrants. 17 people were arrested, $100,000 in cash seized, 1 firearm recovered, unspecified quantities of fentanyl and methamphetamine seized. Day 2, August 27th, 10 additional arrests were made. Homeless encampments cleared that were being used as drug distribution centers. Multiple law enforcement agencies participated in this.
The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and Franklin police have arrested 27 people as part of a bust of a major drug trafficking operation.
This wasn't some random drug bust. This was the result of a 3-month investigation that started when the DEA received information about drug trafficking networks operating in Franklin that was supported by the Sinaloa Cartel. DEA agent in charge, Darren Fergit, didn't mince any words. The Sinaloa Cartel in Mexico has a strong hold on drug distribution in New England, and this week's enforcement action attack their street-level distribution network.
Officials at the DEA do say that through their investigation, they found this drug operation was tied to the Sinaloa Cartel in Mexico.
Now here's where it gets really disturbing. DEA believes these drugs originated with the Sinaloa Cartel and made their way into Franklin, New Hampshire from Lawrence, Massachusetts. And folks, Lawrence has become the fentanyl distribution capital of New England.
I took this little tiny piece of what I thought was crack cocaine and I inhaled it, and I went down. It took 6 Narcans to get revived.
Let me give you the scope of what's happening in Massachusetts. February 2025, 25 individuals charged in a conspiracy that distributed $20,000 worth of drugs per day throughout eastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island. February 2025, 10 people indicted in the Lawrence-based organization distributing fentanyl and meth in New Hampshire. May 2025, Dominican National pled guilty for operating fentanyl distribution hub that supplied Massachusetts cities.
Police say this all started when the DEA got information about a drug trafficking network working in the city.
This shows you the pipeline. Sinaloa Cartel in Mexico to Lawrence, Massachusetts to Franklin, New Hampshire. They've created distribution networks that can move deadly fentanyl from Mexican cartels through Massachusetts into small New Hampshire towns. But here's the kicker. Despite Massachusetts being a major drug trafficking hub, they're actually seeing decrease in overdose deaths. This doesn't change the fact that they're serving as a distribution center for poisoning communities across New England. One of the most disturbing aspects of this case is that law enforcement had to clear a homeless encampment that was being used as a drug distribution site. Think about what this means. The Sinaloa Cartel is using America's most vulnerable citizens as human shields for their criminal operation.
Now, officials say a homeless encampment was cleared too because it had been involved in ongoing drug distribution.
This is a strategy that we're seeing across the country. Cartels set up distribution operations in homeless encampments because less law enforcement scrutiny. Police are often reluctant to aggressively patrol homeless areas. The vulnerable population aspect, homeless individuals can be coerced or paid small amounts of money to participate. There's constant turnover. People come and go, make it harder to track these networks. And then there's a sympathy factor. The public and media sympathy for homeless makes enforcement politically difficult. These cartels are literally exploiting America's homeless crisis to distribute the same fentanyl that's killing over 100,000 Americans every single year. They're using the most vulnerable citizens as cover for operations that destroy American communities. This Franklin operation required coordination between multiple law enforcement agencies, and it shows what's possible when federal law enforcement takes the lead. On the federal level, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration was involved. On a state level, New Hampshire State Police. On a local level, Franklin Police Department and multiple New Hampshire police departments.
During the investigation, we seized 100-gram quantities of fentanyl and methamphetamine. Additionally, during the two-day takedown operation, we seized a large amount of drug proceeds.
The Franklin police chief said the DEA took the lead on this case, and we're proud to have supported their efforts. By working together, we're able to remove specific drug trafficking operations from our community. Agent Forget added, "This case is an excellent example of how federal leadership and local cooperation can come together to protect communities like Franklin from dangerous drug trafficking." This is exactly what we need more of. Federal agencies taking the lead on cartel operations while coordinating with local law enforcement. What's happening in Franklin, New Hampshire is part of a much larger pattern. The Sinaloa Cartel, the same organization that Elmayo Zambada led for decades, has established distribution networks throughout New England. Agent Forget specifically said that the Sinaloa Cartel in Mexico has a stronghold on drug distribution in New England. This isn't about isolated incidents. This is about an organized criminal enterprise with tentacles reaching into small American communities.
And the DEA also does tell us that this case just highlights the work federal and local officials are able to do to keep communities like Franklin or the entire Lakes region here in New Hampshire safe.
Think about the sophistication of this operation. International coordination is required, orders and money flowing between Mexico and New England, multiple state distributions, using Massachusetts as a hub to supply New Hampshire, local recruitment, finding people in Franklin willing to participate, and the infrastructure development, setting up distribution points and homeless encampments. The financial networks moving over $100,000 in cash proceeds. This is economic warfare disguised as drug trafficking. The Sinaloa Cartel is literally poisoning American communities while extracting wealth from our economy. The fentanyl and methamphetamine seized in Franklin are the same deadly substances that are killing over 100,000 Americans every single year. This bust shows you exactly how these drugs are getting into small New England communities. And here's what makes this so deadly. Fentanyl potency is 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine. There's a contamination risk, often mixed with other drugs without users knowing, and the overdose potential, small tiny amounts, can be fatal. And it's also very addictive, and it creates dependency that feeds cartel profits.
The names and charges of all 27 people who've been arrested aren't being released at this point, but police do say some arrests were directly tied to drug trafficking, while others were unrelated but still part of their operation.
The fact that some arrests weren't directly related to drug trafficking, but were still part of the operation, shows you how these networks operate. They create entire ecosystems of criminal activity, drug trafficking, money laundering, weapons, identity theft, and other crimes all working together. This Franklin bust comes as the Trump administration has designated cartels as terrorist organizations and is ramping up enforcement against these criminal networks. The Sinaloa Cartel is now being treated as a terrorist organization that's waging war against American communities. Under President Trump's Take Back America initiative, drug traffickers are being elevated to the level of terrorists, which allows for enhanced penalties, asset forfeit, and coordination between different agencies. America, this Franklin, New Hampshire bust proves that the cartel problem has reached every corner of our country. A town of 8,500 people had Sinaloa distribution networks operating in their communities, using homeless encampments as cover, fueling deadly fentanyl from Massachusetts. This case shows that the cartel problem isn't just a border problem. It's a national security issue affecting communities from Mexico to Main Street America. When a small New Hampshire town can have a major Sinaloa cartel operation, nowhere is safe from these criminal organizations. The 27 people arrested in Franklin represents just a small piece of a massive criminal network that stretches from Mexican cartels through Massachusetts distribution hubs into American communities. But this bust also shows what's possible when we have the political will and the federal coordination to fight back. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.